Hi, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining our webinar this morning. We'll be talking about Nintex Drawloop DocGen document automation for Salesforce. My name is Ora Bransford, and I am a senior consultant at Radixbay. And I am joined this morning by Chris Mascaro from Nintex, and he will be helping me out with this webinar. So we'll go ahead and get started with the overview. So we'll start off with who is Radixbay. And then I'll pass it on to Chris to talk about the product. We'll go through some use cases, have a live demo, and then we'll wrap it up with some Q&A and next steps. So who is Radixbay? Again, like I said, my name is Ora Bransford, and I'm a senior Salesforce consultant at Radixbay. We offer a few different services, our first being managed services, and this is 24/7 support for major database and operating system platforms. Our other service is Salesforce support. So like I said, I'm a Salesforce consultant, so this is my area of expertise. We do anything from implementing new Salesforce setup, implementing new features. We do customizations for Salesforce to ensure that it's working specifically for your business processes. And we also offer ongoing support, which will fall under our managed services. We also do application development support. So we do everything from enhancements, third-party software upgrades, testing, implementation and support. So project management all the way through the development lifecycle. And then the last but not least is advisory services. And our advisory specialists provide business-focused advice. We work with you to quickly evaluate new technologies, platforms, and products to ensure you're making the best decisions for your business. And we do all of this using a rural shore model. So what is that? So we pair traditional senior consultants with rural shore analysts and developers, all while keeping your data secure here in the U.S. So we're providing high-quality work in a really cost-efficient manner that's similar to offshoring, but again, everything is happening right here in the U.S. So that's who we are. I'm going to pass it over to Chris Mascaro with Nintex to tell you a little bit more about their product. I apologize. I think we're having a little bit of trouble hearing Chris. Just give us 1 second.
Hey there, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you, Chris. I think we lost you again. Sorry, guys, if you could just bear with us. We're all adjusting to working from home. It's not the easiest, as I'm sure you guys know. Just bear with us a moment.
right, I have dialed back in. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thanks, Chris.
Hey, apologies, everyone, and thank you again, Ora. Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us today and bearing with that difficulty there. Again, my name is Chris Mascaro. I'm a Strategic Alliances Director here at Nintex. I focus on the relationship between Nintex and Salesforce. I'm really excited with the incredible work that Radixbay and their customers have done with Nintex's Drawloop DocGen. But before we jump into today's content, I want to introduce Nintex for anyone who's unfamiliar. So for over 14 years, Nintex has served as the trusted global standard for process management and automation. We're the trusted technology partner leading ongoing digital transformation for over 9,000 customers across the globe. We're experts in helping our customers take advantage of the opportunity that is offered by each and every digital transformation within their business. We're ecstatic that the success of our customers has built a ton of confidence in our platform, consistently placing us as leaders with G2, Forrester, and Aragon Research. We have over 500 employees globally dedicated to the success of our customers. And all of this is only made possible by our customers and their innovation and their success. Next slide, please. And that's why Nintex built and continues to develop the most complete process platform on the market. So at its simplest, Nintex makes it fast and easy for anyone to manage, automate, and optimize your business processes. So for Salesforce customers, know that we're on a mission to be the leading intelligent process platform within the Salesforce ecosystem. And we've democratized the delivery of intelligent automations, which means that our no-code platform enables anyone to scale and grow their business processes on any Salesforce cloud across Classic, Lightning, or even mobile. And we speak the language of our customers, which means we're focused on delivering solutions that actually improve the way people work. We want your teams to focus their time on doing what they do best every day. So today we'll focus on the highlighted automate portion, and the Radixbay team will do a deep dive into our document generation capabilities through the lens of some really great use cases. And I think a great way to get our bearing around today's solution and discussion is actually to review at a very high level two of Nintex's offerings, which are both listed on Salesforce's App Exchange. Next slide, please. So first, we'll familiarize ourselves with Doc Automation, which is represented here, connected to Sales Cloud, for example, which includes forms, advanced workflow, document generation, and e-signature capabilities. This bundle covers a lot of ground, and it's incredibly useful. The second listing is simple. It's a standalone listing for our product Drawloop DocGen, which does just document generation. So as you begin to think about documents within your organization, you should start to delineate, do you simply need to push a button, generate a document, and if so, that standalone listing is right for you, or does it go beyond that? Think collecting data, moving documents. If so, explore the Doc Automation listing. Drawloop DocGen is loved by end users, but if you look around the document generation space, you evaluate us, you evaluate our competitors, it is fair to say that we come up with very similar results, right? At the end of the day, you have generated a digital document. However, although we get to that same result, we actually get there in a very different way. And that's because we're architected differently than our competitors. And this matters both to partners like Radixbay and customers because they find, wow, one, it's much easier and faster to get the minimum viable product out the door. And two, it's much easier to scale over time, and that the average user is actually able to get in there and amend or make improvements on documents on their own as business changes. So for anyone who is less familiar with the document generation space, I'll wrap this up with why Drawloop DocGen. Next slide, please. So to quickly frame up the landscape that our products are in, and again, this is where some sort of document generation capability exists. Most of the tools or our competitors can be broken down into these three categories. e-sign tools, contract lifecycle management or CLM tools, and HTML taggers. So first, e-sign tools. Most e-sign providers can do document tagging, right, which is typically point-to-point. So for example, I can go first name in Salesforce to first name on the form, and then I can go collect a signature. However, these providers typically need a different template or a different document for each possible variable that might come into play. So you end up needing a different type of document anytime something changes. And because of this, you may end up having to continually manage hundreds of templates or documents to actually accommodate your use case. Whereas with us, you would only need a few because we can handle variables with conditional business logic. So simply put, we have the concept of one template, many versions. We let the data inside of Salesforce tell us what variation of the document needs to be presented and eventually generated. Much easier to manage and scale. Second, the CLM space. Now, these contract lifecycle management tools are typically focused on managing the redlining process specifically, right? Back and forth between company and customer, eventually resulting in a signature. And these tools are specifically strong in how they track changes to a document during that redlining process with Salesforce. However, we find that these tools are fairly limited in scope, both in their document generation capabilities as well as use beyond anything but managing the contract. Right? We absolutely can handle CLM with our advanced workflow, but it's important to call out that our solution extends, and again, is useful both before and after contract lifecycle management. So for example, starting with an online or an offline form, and data intake and capture on a mobile device or through a URL, and then if that data needs to get pushed into Salesforce in real time, or if we're offline, that data could get pushed back into Salesforce at time of reconnect. That could be into a new object or an existing object in Salesforce. And again, that's all the way through contract management, through signature, or even something like automatically handling renewal management. Again, simply put, we extend beyond a typical CLM solution. Third, the HTML taggers, and their HTML taggers are just that. They can do document generation inside of Salesforce. However, it's typically very limited in scope. They can maybe handle things like letter correspondence or a single page document. They can't handle multiple variations or combined documents. Again, these are great tools for simple use cases. Just be wary of quickly outgrowing them. So more broadly, when we think, why Drawloop, there are a few key points to call out. With us, and this is really a key difference from other DocGen tools on Salesforce, is that we don't require any coding. Everything is configuration-based inside of Salesforce. We're built on Force.com. We use the same declarative methods to actually get to data within Salesforce. Now, getting to this data, which you ultimately need to be able to push into the document or generate the document, is actually a common issue within the document generation space. Now, a lot of applications can only go so deep, and they can only access certain data needed to generate a document. And if you can't get to the data, what ends up happening is someone has to go and write a bunch of code or a bunch of scripts just to prepare the data to be dropped into the document. It's not required for us, and that's something that is typically really important to end users. Additionally, conditional business logic is typically important, meaning that there are certain requirements to create a document or logic for content within a document. A really timely example of this would be how the SBA, or Small Business Administration, uses Drawloop DocGen. In order to generate an application and a contract for any small business that needs a loan due to a catastrophe within their geo, they have to apply over 600 lines of conditional logic to actually make sure those conditions are met. Then to send the correct data into the document and to generate the correct document the first time, saving their team a ton of time and is allowing them to process a lot more of these requests much faster than they otherwise would be able to. We're actually able to accommodate building conditional logic in two different ways, which is important to a lot of users. One, defining conditional logic right in the app, and two, leveraging Excel as middleware. That means conditional logic can be put into Microsoft Excel, which processes or amends that data, and when conditions are met, that data is actually sent into the end document based on set requirements. Next, it's important to call out that we support multiple languages within the documents that we generate. And again, because we're leveraging Microsoft Office products, so Word, Excel, PowerPoint, we can support any language that these products support, as well as the way that they are read, so top to bottom, left to right, etc. And last but not least, customer success. Critically important at Nintex. Our team works alongside SI partners to onboard customers and ensure adoption. Customer support is included for all Nintex customers at no additional cost. So thank you again, and with that, we'll pass it over to Ora on the RadixBay team to talk through what we call document package and to dig into these awesome use cases. Ora?
Thanks, Chris. So as Chris said, we're going to focus today on the document package as well as getting those created in Salesforce. So what does that mean? So really, all you're doing with a document package is you're taking any data, so from Salesforce or an external system, using any document that you may have as a template and outputting that information, dynamically inserting and changing data, and outputting it really in almost any type of delivery option. So any of your Office products that Chris mentioned earlier, any of your e-signatures, as well as things like Gmail and many other options. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the use cases now so that you can see this in action. So before we jump into the use case, we do have a quick poll question just to kind of get a feel of the audience. Would you describe yourself as a business user or technical user or both? And I'll give you guys a few seconds to answer that question. Okay, let's check out the results. Okay, so most of you are both business and technical. Great. So we're going to go through two use cases today. So the first one, and we see both of these pretty often with our clients. So the first one's around legal departments and contracts. So a lot of times legal wants to give the ability for the end users to use already approved fallback terms. They want to ensure that end users are selecting the correct template. And they also want to have less templates to maintain. And then the second use case is around a tear sheet. And these are often used in financial service industries to summarize information about companies or about funds. But this can be applicable across multiple industries to summarize key information. You know, systems are getting larger, it's harder and harder to find data, and the tear sheet's really going to pull that all together really nicely for you. So let's think about this first use case around legal. Say I'm a sales rep, I have a contract, I send it out to the counterparty, they want things changed, I have to send it to legal for approval for the language, and this can be a really long cyclical process. It sometimes takes a long time for legal to approve, depending on the volume of contracts. And there's certain common approvals that they see over and over. So they really want to set up the system to allow sales reps or end users to make sure they're choosing pre-approved language. So we're going to show you how Nintex helps with that. And the other piece is I'm in the legal department. I'm having to keep different versions of templates up to date and in sync. I want to ensure my team is choosing the correct templates and correct contracts to send out. And it sometimes becomes pretty work intensive, and it's a very manual process. And Nintex is actually going to get rid of a lot of that manual work. So another quick poll question. Does this business problem resonate at all with you guys? Again, I'll give you a few seconds to answer. All right. Okay, I didn't get any results that time, so I'm just going to assume you all said yes. So let me, I'm actually going to hop into the system now and show you the power of Nintex DocGen in their component library. Okay, hopefully everyone can see Salesforce. I'm currently on an account page, and I'm going to pretend I'm a sales rep, and I want to send a, so I'm going to go in, and for the sake of this demo, we just put the fields on the account level, but really depending on how your Salesforce is set up, the fields could be split across accounts, opportunities, contracts, whatever you need in order to manage your business processes. So I'm just going to fill out a few pieces of information. Let's choose the effective date to be at the end of the month. I'm just going to do a general compliance agreement, and then I'm going to go ahead and save it. All right, now I'm ready to generate my MFA. So in the background, all it's doing is choosing the correct contract. It's looking at those selections that I made, inserting the correct language. And we have it set up to save as a Salesforce file on the account record. Again, this is completely configurable. We have it saving as a PDF as well. Just as a contract, you don't really want someone changing the language. So we just wanted to make sure that we're keeping everything that's being approved, no changes can be made. But again, this is configurable based on your business processes. So let's just go ahead and open it and take a look. So anything that we have highlighted in yellow, this is going to be merged data that we've tagged in our template. And we'll scroll on down to our compliance section. And as you can see, we have our general compliance filled in. So it's really simple for the sales reps not to have to do a lot of work. All of the language is quickly updated for them. So let's go back and actually make a few more changes so you can see. So I'm going to change this to, let's say this company has UK clients. Let's do a GDPR compliance. And I actually want to include an NDA this time. I'm going to save my changes, and I'm going to regenerate the MFA. Again, it's looking at the selections I made, pulling in the correct language. Let's try that again. All right, so let's scroll down to the compliance section again, and you can see that now our GDPR compliance has been pulled in. And then if we scroll down, you can see as Exhibit A, the non-disclosure agreement has been pulled in as well. So again, the sales reps didn't have to do very much except for make the correct selections on their account record, and they get the correct contract with the correct language pulled in, and they're ready to send that off to the client. So let's look at the compliance component real quick so you can see how legal benefits from this. So this is our compliance component. This is what is housing our compliance language. So if legal ever has to make a change to update one of these, all they have to do is click the edit button. They can come in and change this language. Once they save it, any contract that's generated after the change has been made is going to be automatically updated with the correct language. The other thing to look at is, well, how do I know what the system needs to input? So it's really easy. Again, you're just filtering. So you're tagging your fields on the account. When it equals general compliance, insert this language. So if you're familiar with very simple filter logic, this is really easy to do. And then the last piece I want to show you here is the field tagger. So this is how you're going to be tagging your documents. And if you are familiar with mail merge, or if you're a Salesforce admin and you've tagged email templates, then you're already used to this. So here are all your fields, your field labels, and then the tags. This is how it knows to insert the account name and in what place. And then, of course, your components are similar. So this is just a really easy way to ensure that your templates are always up to date. If someone has a basic understanding, they can come into the back end and make changes to logic if they need to, make changes to language so that templates are always up to date and you don't have to worry about any of that manual manipulation. All right, so let's actually hop back to our PowerPoint and we're going to talk about our next use case. So we're going to look at a tear sheet next. Again, this is a one-page summary of information. If you're familiar with Salesforce, you know that you have data spread across many different objects. You have data in dashboards and reports. And a lot of times it takes a lot of energy and prep time to pull that information together. Say I'm getting ready for a new sales meeting with a new account that we've been working on. If I need information on that account to prepare, you know, it could be hours of work trying to pull all that together. So a tear sheet is really going to make it really easy to pull that important information that's buried up into one document. So some of you guys might be asking, well, why would I use DocGen? Why don't I just create a Lightning page or a Lightning component? Well, as Chris said earlier, this doesn't require any code. Lightning pages and components require some type of development. There's some technical debt there. And this just really allows it to be clicks, not code, right, which Salesforce touts, right? The other piece is that maybe your execs or the sales manager isn't a Salesforce user. So I could go into Salesforce with a click of a button, create the document, and give it to that exec or that non-Salesforce user, and therefore I'm saving licensing costs. This also gives the ability to have it in PowerPoint or a PDF format. The only option with a Lightning page or component is maybe screenshots, which isn't the most professional way to present something. And then another reason is we have one client that they have a lot of governance. So any changes to the system requires a pretty long process to get it approved and then implemented. And this really, if you need a change to a tear sheet, your admin can go into the back end, make a few changes to DocGen and Nintex, not necessarily the system. So it will require a lot less governance. So another poll question, does this business problem resonate with you, or do you think this would be something that would work out for your company? Again, I'll give you guys a few seconds. Okay, great. It looks like a lot of you find that this will either be helpful or it resonates with you. All right, so we're going to hop back into the system for our second demo. Okay, so we are back in the system. We're back on that Facebook account page. And as you can see, the details are pretty basic. You have contacts, but you don't really know who your key contacts are. You have a lot of opportunities. This isn't super helpful if I'm getting ready to meet for a sales meeting. I have to probably go look at some reports, some dashboards if I want to see the financials. So what we've done is create a button, and I'm going to just generate this tear sheet. So while it's generating, it's compiling data from the system, it's looking at reports. We have straight data tags, just like in our contract example. You can use coded queries to pull in information from non-related records if you need to. It's pulling together charts. It's just doing a lot of things in the background, saving me a little bit of time, so I'm not clicking through different objects, related lists, in order to get the information that I need. So we actually have generated as a PowerPoint. I'm going to go ahead and open it. And again, your output can be anything, almost anything. So if you don't want changes made to it, it could be a PDF as well. So if you take a look at this, you're getting a lot of information. You can pull in logos. We have the account summaries, your key contacts. We have industry information as well as charts about financial health. And then on the second page, this is a really great thing about Nintex is that you can do some dynamic org charts. So as people are moving around, each time you regenerate this deck, you're going to get an updated org chart. So that's really cool. So let's look at the back end very quickly. So here we are in our document package, and we're pulling in data from Salesforce. We're pulling in reports. So if I click down here on this file, you can see on the right, here's the reports that we looked at that are in the tear sheet that we're pulling in as chart 1 and chart 2. So here are the charts that we built out based on reports that we have in the system. Some other things that we can do, which we didn't really do, is that you can use Excel formulas to manipulate the data before it's passed into your template. So this is a really powerful tool to ensure that you're getting your end users the information that they need. And it's more than a straight merging of data, right? So we have been able to make it and present it in a very digestible and user-friendly manner. So you can, as an end user, push that button, have this generated, and send it on to execs or whoever is getting ready to have a meeting, so they have all of the information here at their fingertips. So the last thing I want to talk about is what to think about as far as architecture. So the first thing is the data model. We want you to build the data model to meet the customer's needs, whatever those may be. So Nintex uses declarative methods, so we can get to data within any data model. It's very rare that we have to ask for changes to a data model. And then the next thing is really just focusing on the goals and objectives. So really during discovery or scoping motions, we want to understand the ultimate goals and objectives of the customer. And the same thing goes here from data intake and manipulation to document output and delivery. Having a deep understanding of the data and the end-to-end lifecycle of the documents leads to successful delivery. The next piece is licensing requirements. So again, it's going to be based on your use case, your user story. So there are two different options. One is user-based, and the other is org-wide, which is unlimited users, and it's based on the number of documents that you would end up producing. So again, it depends on what's best for your company and what you need. And then the last piece is how to call the service. So Nintex uses what's called AutoDocs, which essentially is a document that's generated based on a Salesforce event. So the examples that we showed you today were based on button pushes, but you do have the option of building it out based on Process Builder, Lightning Flow, or Apex Trigger. So there's just different things to keep in mind as you're getting ready to implement Nintex. And again, it all comes back to what your company needs and how it's best going to be used for your business processes. So again, you can reach out to Nintex to talk through which pricing model works best for you. So that's pretty much it for our presentation today. So we do have time for some questions. So let me see what has come through. So the first question that we have, can this work with Salesforce communities and mobile? Yes, DocGen can work with both Salesforce communities and the mobile app. Okay. The next question we have is, I'm still on Salesforce Classic. Can you set this to store as an attachment instead of a file? Yes. In the configuration of the tool, you can define if it should store as a file or in the notes and attachments section on the record in Salesforce. And just as a side note, if you're still on Salesforce Classic and you're moving to Lightning, please reach out to us. We've done quite a few of those. Okay. The next question we have is, do you have to generate the documents one at a time, or is there the ability to mass generate the documents? Yes, you can mass generate the documents from a list view, and you can have them attached to the record, or you can put it in a queue to be downloaded in bulk. All right, and looks like one more question we have. Can this be configured to have the document saved in box? Yes, DocGen can be set up to have documents saved in box. That's one of the output options. So yes, that is possible. Let's see if we have any more questions. All right, have you seen this Excel as middleware used to do complicated commissions? Yes, we've seen clients do that before instead of coding in the system. Okay, here's another one. You said the documents can be edited by the user after they've been created, correct? Yes. You can generate them as the original document. So if you have input a template as Word, you can generate it as Word as well, for example, and then they can edit it that way. All right. Is there a way to create a template where the various fields are filled by the data from different reports? Yes. So our tier sheet is actually pulling in data from different reports for the two different charts that I showed. So the reports exist in Salesforce. It's pulling in the data from those reports and creating those charts. So it looks like someone wants to see a component group again. Yes, I can share that. Just share my screen again. So this is the compliance component group. So these are different language options. This is where you would save any changes to language or new language. You can add filters here. as well as filter logic. Hopefully that shows you what you were asking to see. All right, let's see if there's any more questions coming through. Okay, we have a question that says, can you create fillable PDFs? Yes, PDF is one of the supported documents. Okay, so we got another question about where do I learn more about e-sign capabilities, and I think that is a good transition to our last slide. So if you are interested in a free 1-hour consultation on Nintex and Salesforce, please feel free to contact us. There's our contact information. So we have contact information for RadixBay as well for Chris Mascaro at Nintex, who will direct you to us. So thank you guys so much for joining our presentation today. Please stay safe and healthy out there, and we hope to hear from you soon.